It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Hello, it's the Friday Talkie. On a Friday. How the hell did that happen? So, what have I got to talk about? I've got 3 topics, if you like. Well, I'm going to respond to 3 videos by 3 other cool YouTubers. The first one is EdT1138, who has done a video, Games You Love on Systems You Don't, which is pretty self-explanatory, what that's all about, and what would be 3 games that I love, or really like, on 3 systems that I don't really care for that much. I didn't actually have to think that long, especially for the first one. It's on the NES. You all know what I think of the NES. Because I've never spoke on that subject before, have I? And been bombarded with a hail of abuse from certain people who don't comment here anymore, which is cool. Yeah, Marble Madness on the NES. I've got arcade conversions on like PS2 and whatever compilations. I have got it on the Mega Drive. I loved it in the arcade. That big trackball just really made it something special, but I don't have a trackball on any of my home versions of it. I played it on the Mega Drive back in the day. Did I rent it, or did I... There was a shop in Milton Keynes that would let you exchange games. You could go in there. You'd go in there and you'd pay £15, I think, for a game. I think that was second hand. And then you could take them back and for £3 exchange it for a different one. So it would kind of be a rolling thing, £3, and you keep it as long as you liked until you got sick of it, and then you go back in, £3, get a different one, swap it. And that was really good. And I got this one like that. And yeah, I kept Marble Madness on the Mega Drive for about a week, because for some reason it didn't do it for me. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I'd quite recently played the arcade version, and the lack of the trackball made it feel all wrong. I'm not sure. But the next time I played the game was on the NES, and I was gobsmacked at how good it was. Now, it doesn't have the resolution or the detail of the Mega Drive version, but something about it just feels better. Can't quite put my finger on it. The music, I think, is different. I don't actually remember. But I do remember playing it on the NES and thinking, wow, okay, this is impressing me, because I didn't have a very high opinion of the NES. And for it to play one of my favourite arcade games so well, and in a manner that didn't crush me in seconds like the real thing generally can. Yeah, that would probably be my favourite game on the NES. Possibly. I can't remember what else I've got actually, but really like that one. Don't really like the NES. Second one, Halo on the original Xbox. Can't really call it the Xbox One anymore, can you? I am not a fan of the Xbox. It's a Microsoft thing. I dislike Microsoft as a company. I dislike pretty much everything they do. I use Windows because I kind of have to. I can't afford a Mac, and I don't like Linux. I've used Ubuntu, I've used Mint, I've used various other things, and it confuses me. Some things are really, really easy to install, and some things are ridiculously complex and require you to be an uber geek with technical skills way beyond mine. And there are certain pieces of software that I need, like video editing software. Now there's that Kdenlive, but I found it to be an unstable piece of software. It could have been okay, but anyway, that's all by the by. So I have to use Windows, but I dislike it, and all this comes from being an Amiga man. The Amiga operating system was so good that everything since has always seemed just rubbish or stupid, bloated, illogical, full of unnecessary shite. And this has moulded my attitude towards Microsoft. which is why when it came out, the Xbox, the original one came out, I was like, I ain't buying that. I had a PS2. I wasn't going to buy a GameCube because Nintendo. But I as a piece of hardware, I acknowledge that it is superior to the PS2. It's certainly got better storage because there's a hard drive in there. Is that a standard thing? Or I mean, I bought this thing at a car boot sale for £10. Bargain. Wouldn't have bought one otherwise, but I stumbled across it and all they wanted was a tenner, so I was like, yeah, I'll have that. Yeah, I acknowledge it as a very capable piece of hardware for the time. The most powerful console at the... Is it more powerful than the GameCube? I don't know where the GameCube actually sits in relation to the Xbox and the PS2. Certainly the Dreamcast comes bottom of the pile, I think, in terms of capabilities. But anyway, neither here nor there. I actually like the Dreamcast. Don't like the Xbox just because of who it's made by. I suppose that's the opposite of fanboyism, but whatever. I've never said I'm not biased. I absolutely am biased. Anyway, but there is a game on it that I really, really like. And given my love for Gran Turismo, you would think it would be Forza, but it's not. Forza just doesn't do it for me at all. And neither does Project Gotham. Though I do find that kind of amusing. No, it is Halo. I've only played the first one. I haven't played Halo 2. I obviously haven't played anything after that because I have not got and never will get a 360. And I certainly won't buy an X-Bone. And now there'll be people saying, X-Bone, that's a cliche. How can you say that? Show a bit of imagination or originality. Do you know what? Bollocks to you. Anyway, I like Halo. I'd been playing first-person shooters for... What was the first-person shooter I played? I don't actually remember. It might have been Black. No, stupid. Doom. Duh. But like more outdoor, free-roaming, bit more freedom of movement and dimension. No, then you'd be talking Quake 3 Arena, wouldn't you? But anyway, I'd played first-person shooters before I played Halo. Lots. But when I played that on my Xbox, I just... There's a level of... Yeah, actually, I think it's the humour. I mean, there is the berserk mental action-packed... You just get moments that are absolutely mental. But it's the humour. It's those little, short, bad guys with the funny shields and whatnot. And you shoot at them and they laugh. They giggle hysterically. And I love that. I mean, it's like throwing a hand grenade into a crowd of Oompa Loompas. It's just... Or Munchkins or something. I love it. I like it for them. And there's just something completely mental about the whole game. I haven't finished it. I got quite a long way into it. And then I got sidetracked. But that... Yeah, that's a game I like a lot on a system you know, I'm not a fan of. Third game on a system I don't like. Half-Life 2 on the PC. I've got Half-Life 2 on my PS3 and I can't play it. I cannot... I played it originally on the PC, on my older PC, not on the one I've got now, the one that I basically blew up. Once upon a time, I mean, it was a single core CPU, 3.2 gigahertz, but Half-Life 2 wasn't designed for multi-core anyway, so the fact that they're multi-core now, this one here is like dual core, same clock speed, but anyway, that makes no difference. And that old computer had a better... I stuck a kick-ass graphics card in it, considering it wasn't... What was the standard, the slot that it went in? I can't remember, but it was an older styled slot. Can you hear that? I've been downstairs once already. I'm going down again. I'm going to shout at the furry bastard. Back in a minute. Dogs. Don't you just love them? They do like to disrupt videoing sessions. So yes, I had a decent graphics card in the PC and it played Half-Life like a dream. My current one just won't. It doesn't. I haven't got a fancy graphics card in it. But I played it start to finish. It blew me away. I'd played Half-Life 1. No, I'd played a demo of it on the PS2 and I never got beyond the demo. I didn't like it. It didn't do it for me. I don't know why. It just didn't do it for me. But then I thought, there's a lot of fuss about Half-Life 2. I'd played Far Cry. That was the first-person shooter I played on that PC, and I was like, holy cow, this is incredible. But the gameplay was kind of predictable, kind of one-dimensional, one-dimensional isn't really right, really. It was very three-dimensional, but there was something about it. It was kind of cartoony. Something was just a bit... It was very, very impressive, and I loved it. But when I played Half-Life 2, there was something about that. Visually, it was sinister, and the storyline was what really did it. The variety of the gameplay was impressive, and the physics was great, but it was the world it put you in. And like I say, I've played it on the PS3 and I can't do it. I can't control it. The controls, you just don't get the accuracy on that game with the PS3 pad. Don't know why. Just maybe it's because they did a piss poor conversion and the frame rate's crap. Could be. But Half-Life 2 on the PC, because I don't do PC gaming. I did on that old computer a bit, but this one is not up to it. And I can't just slap a fancy graphics card in this, or even a halfway decent one, because the power supply in this thing isn't up to it. I would have to upgrade that. And I've tried... Last time I tried sticking a different power supply into a PC, it didn't go well. So I don't want to tinker with this, because I need this computer. So there it is. There is a computer in the other room, it's Andrew's computer, that's actually got a decent graphics card built in, and I have got some PC games on it. And it does a pretty decent job, but I'm not a fan of the PC for gaming. It's just, it doesn't do it for me. I want something that I can just stick the disc in and pick it up and play it with no messing around, which is why the PS3 actually aggravates me quite a lot with all its stupid updates and stuff. But there you go, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, Half-Life 2, PC. Okay, that answers that. I know Ed was looking for people to do like short 3-minute videos so he could do something with them. Sorry Ed, you probably won't want to use this clip. But anyway, link to Ed's video down there, because he's great and you should watch his video. Next question. It's not a question. What am I talking about? Next video that I watched that I'm going to respond to is by TheArmchairEmpire. And he says, is it okay to call the PS2 retro yet? Talks about defining classic. Because, yeah, I do recommend watching his video as well. He goes into a good deal more detail than I'm going to, looking at what does define classic in terms of how long has it been available, how many generations of hardware back is it, and how what's considered classic and how such a thing is defined in, say, the movie industry is different from within the gaming industry, because there aren't generations of movie where there are generations of gaming hardware and stuff like that. Watch his video. My thoughts on it. Do I call the PS2 retro? Do I consider it retro? No, not yet. There's a thing, because the PS2 is, technically speaking, the same generation as the Dreamcast. Granted, there were a couple of years between them. But if I look at a Dreamcast game and I look at a PS2 game, the difference is very noticeable in terms of how they look. When I look at, say, a PS1 game, I would call a PS1 game retro. Yes, it's 3D. Yes, you find yourself in a similar kind of game world as modern games. It's three-dimensional. You've got virtual three-dimensional worlds that are recognizable. You know what they're trying to be. But they are so chunky pixelated that you know this is something old. It's kind of creaking and you can feel its age. It doesn't look real enough to be anything other than retro. And there's something cool about that. I like it. When I play the PS2, PS2 games to me look like rough, unfinished, incomplete PS3 games. It's like the rough draft before they got round to doing it properly, if you like. It's like an artist's sketch in his sketch pad before doing the painting. Interesting analogy, maybe. Yeah, Dreamcast games are to me nearer to the PS1, and that makes them retro. You look at them and you can feel the cogs going round. It's kind of creaking and clunking and struggling. And that to me makes it retro. That and the fact that it was discontinued so long ago. I can't remember. What year did they discontinue it? It's been a long while. So I mean the PS4 is nearly with us. That will make the PS2 2 generations ago. But I personally, I just can't do it. It doesn't feel retro. It just feels dated. It's like you've still got virtual worlds that you can believe in. So I can still play a PS2 game and feel like, well, Gran Turismo. I can play that and get the same buzz out of it as I will get playing Gran Turismo 5. If I was playing Gran Turismo 3 or 4, I'm getting the same buzz out of it. And if what else? What is it? Black, or what's it? Thingy of the Colossus? I've lost it. Was it Legend of the Colossus? Whatever. You know the one. Big giant monsters. You climb up them and kill them. That. Gobsmacking. Absolutely gobsmacking on a visual level. And I think if a system, I don't care how old it is, if it can run games like that, it ain't quite getting into the retro slot for me. It doesn't feel... It still stands up well today, I think, in the same ballpark as a modern game. I mean, it's there are games on, say, the SNES or even the ZX81 that are fantastic games and that I love and that are fun to play, but they are so obviously not fitting in this modern era of games. But I think there are still games on the PS2 that are... they don't embarrass themselves in terms of how good they look on modern terms. I mean, yeah, the PS4 is going to come out and you look from PS4 to PS2 and then it'll be like no comparison, but the game will still impress. Gran Turismo 2, not 2, 3 and 4. I can still look at that and go, oh, that looks good. And I think the same can be said for the Xbox. I mean, that looks even better than the PS2. The GameCube, hell, Mario Kart Double Dash, absolutely fantastic. Gorgeous as you like. I don't care that you can play things like that are in HD. Double Dash to me is not retro. What was that Star Wars game I played fairly recently on it? Gobsmacking, stunning, gorgeous, beautiful. Retro? Hell no. We're not there yet. It's a weird one because I mean we're very nearly 2 generations away. And how many years? Well, there's another thing as well. It's a good lot. It's a lot of years since the PS2 was originally released. Was it 2000? Can't remember. Definitely can't remember. But they made it for a long time. I mean, they were still building the PS2 long after the PS3 was released. So I mean, how many years is it since they stopped making it? Not that long. Couple of years? Something like that. To me, that it just... I think it needs to be about 10 years since they stopped making it. Never mind when the next generation started being made, but how long since they stopped making it. And I would say 10 years. Then it's retro. Maybe. That is just me. And it's absolutely no hard and fast rule even then with me. And I'll probably sooner or later start putting PS2 videos on my channel. Just because I can, because I'm sitting here looking at them and I've got about 2 shelves full of them. So, you know, at such time as I run out of anything older to make videos of, and there's no sign of that happening yet. Do you know, I remember when I first started putting up videos of my games, I said, when I was first asked to make videos of my games, I said, do you know, it's going to take me a year to get all of them done. If I put one up every day, it would take a year. Yeah, 5 years later, not even close. Not even close. Anyway, so that is my thoughts on that. Link to the original video down there. That's the Armchair Empire. Is it okay to call the PS2 retro yet? Next video that I want to respond to. This is by SegaCDUniverse. And this is my response to his video, which is in fact a response to a video by Israel Pacheco. Probably pronouncing that wrong. Links down there. Why do you YouTube? And he goes into some detail about why he does YouTube. I have actually answered this before, or a question like it, or talked on the subject before, but I think it's a while since I did that, and it is an interesting question. And I've got lots of new viewers. I hit 9,000 subscribers this week. Weirdly, YouTube, something. I suddenly acquired about 80 new subscribers overnight, which I initially thought was YouTube glitching, because they went away again. But then they came back. But I'd had no reports or alerts or emails or whatnot saying all these people have subscribed. I think what that is a while, over a period of time, YouTube have like been filtering out, deciding this isn't a real subscription and this isn't real and this, and knocked them all off gradually. And I think they've maybe reassessed it and decided, no, actually those were real, so here's your 80 subscribers back. Anyway, but yes, 9,000, definitely hit 9,000, and whether those other 80 something are real, who knows. But 9,000 is a nice number. Thank you hugely to everyone who subscribed. And there is the first reason why do I YouTube. You lot. People who have a similar interest, who watch, who listen, who give a crap. I don't know anyone in the real world. There are those who don't like that phrase, in the real world. It's all real or unreal depending on your philosophy or perspective or whatever. Outside of YouTube, outside of the internet, out there in the physical world, I don't know anyone who is into retro gaming, who I haven't met via the internet. So it's not a subject I get to talk about or anything like that. Andrea is incredibly tolerant and indeed encouraging with regard to retro gaming as my hobby, and I can sit and blather on the topic for an amount of time, and she will listen politely. But it doesn't mean anything to her, largely. She is familiar with it because her son used to play, like, they had a Spectrum and an Amstrad and I don't know whatever else, a Mega Drive, when he was a kid. And I think her daughters played a bit as well. They're all grown up now. But you know, she has some experience of a small child having a tantrum because his tape wouldn't load. But in terms of first-hand experience of the games, we have different experiences and different tastes and whatnot. She can kick my ass at Mario Kart. She can kick my ass at Tekken. But that's about it. Where I'm playing first-person shooters and Gran Turismo, you know, she'll just glaze over. And the retro-y stuff, the Atari stuff, the arcade stuff, all of that. You know, we're different perspectives, different interests. So, yeah. But I can come on here and sit and go blah 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 for ages. I mean, there are times I sit and go blah for over an hour, and I don't know why, but some of you listen to the whole thing, and that's great, and that's a reason to do YouTube. It's a shared interest, and people who give a crap, you know, out of genuine interest and not just politeness. Wales, it would not be unreasonable to say I am an attention seeker. I love the attention. The more my subscriber count grows, the more I just grin at it and think, yay. Look at all those people. It's a nice feeling to know that there are lots of people watching and listening. It makes me feel good. Was I ignored as a child? Yeah, probably, fairly. I was a horrible child. I certainly had behavioural issues, so, you know. And the way to deal with that was to just ignore me. And so I like the attention. Obviously, I like I talk about the friendship and the being listened to, but of course it works the other way. I mean, this is why I make videos, but the other side of it is many of you make videos, so I learn an awful lot from other YouTubers, many who I'm really quite familiar with, some of whom I've had the great pleasure of meeting. Yeah, it's a very learning, what's the word? Environment. It's a very learning environment. That is appalling sentence construction, but it's a great environment for learning new stuff, or finding answers to questions that you've got, be it on a technical level or a historical level or whatever. Something's broken, there's someone out there who knows how to fix it, and that's great. So I mean, that's another reason why to use it. Sentences cannot construct. It's educational. It's a two-way process. It isn't just all going one way. And I like that. Financial. There are absolutely financial considerations. I have always been open about that fact. Even before YouTube allowed putting ads on it, I was using it to promote my website because I make money from that a bit. It's not a lot, but it's a bit, so it was a promotional tool, and now there are ads and I can make a bit of money off of that. It's an incentive. I would still be making videos without that. Would I be making as many? I don't know. Maybe not, but not a whole lot of difference. I would probably, if I was having a day where I was struggling and I really had to work to cram in making a video in between all the other stuff that's going on, I maybe then wouldn't bother. But now it's like, yeah, I will go that extra mile to make one, because there is a financial incentive, and by God, I do need it. I don't go into the details of my finances, but you know, I need the money. Yeah, I think that's it really. It's actually, there is another aspect to it. It's creative. It is a creative outlet, because it's not just about the communication, as in I get to go blah 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 and tell you what I think about stuff. Because I do other videos, not so much on here. Although, I mean, I suppose it depends on how you define creative. Certainly not on my original first couple of years. my videos, but certainly on the later ones, there is a degree of humour and comedy, shall we say. I don't by any means consider myself a comedian. I could not do stand-up. But I do find making these videos a really good way of expressing my sense of humour in a way that I think a lot of you get. Some people don't get, but I know a lot do. And the whole, there is a game that I play that some of you are aware of. There are little in-jokes and references to other things, maybe references to other people's videos, maybe a lot of references to films. I throw in film references willy-nilly all over the place, and if I do that in a video, it is absolutely deliberate, and I will sit there watching the comments, and it's like, how long is it going to be before someone picks up on that? And I can't remember what it was. There was one fairly recently and I've totally forgotten what it was. I mean, there are the frequent Star Wars and Star Trek references, but there's stuff from other films, and it's usually like geeky, probably sci-fi kind of stuff. And I'll throw in a line from a film. I did one that I was really pleased with recently, and I've totally forgotten what it was. Yeah, and it's stuff like that. That doesn't come under the sense of humour. That's a game thing. I'm kind of going off track. Yeah, it's a great way of being expressive, creatively expressive. Like I said, this isn't my only channel. I've got Isambard Montague, who, yeah, that is absolutely well, it's a satire channel, political satire, which is not by any means to many people's taste. But it's a really good creative outlet. I love the character. What he says is the absolute opposite of what I believe, but that in itself, it's irony. I love doing that. And I mean, Benway's World is just so, sometimes, I mean, there's a lot of kitten videos on there. There is someone out there who does not like kitten videos. They're in Finland. I don't know who it is. But it's like whenever I put up a pets video, I always get a thumbs down from Finland. Miserable sod. Anyway, and that's it's a creative outlet. I've got some very obscure videos on there that are just like arty-farty. You look at it and think, what the hell's this? And some people will, sometimes it's just because I think it looks nice. Sometimes there's more than that. There's one where I'm reading a piece of creative writing I did. But it's a creative outlet. It's very much a niche thing with that kind of thing. The number of people who get it are significantly fewer than the number of people who will understand why I sit and play a game badly. But it's very enjoyable to do something creative and know that someone is going to see it or hear it. I used to make music. I still try and have failed so far. I made music for years. Originally started out making it with guitar and a keyboard and a 4-track tape recorder, and moved on to I did some stuff with my Amiga using Octamed Sound Studio. I finished off using, and then I moved on and I've got a Roland MC303, and I made music over the years. And the thing with that was no one was ever going to hear it. I made a CD and I sold it on the interwebs, and I sold one copy. I think I sold about 15 copies of another CD that I made before that, in like just to people who I worked with. And it was kind of depressing because I put in lots and lots and lots of time to make this music that I thought was halfway listenable, and no one was ever going to hear it. And here is YouTube, and I have my music on YouTube. It's on this channel, but you'll be very hard pushed to find it. The way to hear it is to go to my Benway's World channel, where I've got a playlist, and you can hear it there if you should be so interested. But it's great, you know, it's all that creative effort, and all of the music that I made, right from way back there to my most recent stuff, you can now hear, and people do hear it, and several hundred people have listened to it, which is so much better than 15. And that's why I YouTube. To be heard, to express something, an idea, a thought, a creative process, and to be heard. And that's something, it is now so easy to do that with YouTube, which before YouTube it just wasn't. I had websites with my music on as MP3s, and actually I shifted over 1 million MP3s over a number of years, which was cool. But to get noticed before YouTube was so hard, and I mean before the internet, well, you just, if you didn't play live you had no chance. And I have never played live, couldn't do it. I'm no musician, no stand-up comic, no one who anyone you're likely to meet in a normal situation would really give a damn about listening to. So yeah, why YouTube? You lot. Ultimately, there's an audience. Very, very, very good, cool, interesting question, and one that I think deserves an answer, and I encourage more people to answer it. I mean, there are the obvious answers, you know, but there can be more obscure, more interesting, more in-depth answers, depending how deep you want to go. Link to original video down there from SegaCDUniverse. I don't know how long I've been waffling now. That is all I have got for the moment. I have to go and let the dogs out very shortly. Who let the dogs out? God, I will soon. Shutting up now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up button. I upload videos daily, so go ahead and hit subscribe if you'd like to see more. To all those who've already subscribed, I'd just like to say a great big thank you.